Have you ever wondered why the best things in life are hard to achieve? It turns out that everything that's given to us, we usually take for granted, and things that we work hard for, we learn to appreciate. So in today's live video, you will understand that the difference between the type of pains and what to look out for. And if you're new here, my name is Mitchell. I'm a relationship coach, and I'm here to help you achieve what you're looking for. And so in today's video, I'll be talking about the road to heaven often feels like hell. And if you're not familiar with my work, I help a lot of people with relationships and what to look out for in a relationship. But in today's live video, it's a little bit different. It's not so much about specifically one relationship. It's about who you are as a person and what you're willing to do and put in the type of work for yourself so that you could continue improving. And so for my first slide, I'll be talking about fulfilling and meaningful. And I want to start out with this quote, which is, the longer you entertain what's not for you, the longer you will postpone what is. And so let's talk about the road to heaven. And so the road to heaven, the journey towards something good or something virtuous, usually means that it comes with some sort of adversity. So it means that you have to overcome adversity and you have to sacrifice some comfort on your own, and you have to be facing discomfort. So for a lot of people, it feels like it's a burden. And this path typically involves sacrifice and selflessness. What does that mean? It means that it requires prioritizing the needs of other people. It's not just about yourself. And giving up personal desires, certain things, and making choices that may not be comfortable. And it's going to require a lot of hard work and a lot of discipline. So, which means that you have to be reaching up for like this higher spiritual or moral state, and it will demand consistent effort. It means discipline and a willingness to persevere through a lot of challenges, because a lot of people, they don't have rituals for themselves. The moment they wake up, they check on the phone, they don't do anything else. And then, they're going to a job that they don't like. They come back home and they're not really working or investing on themselves, whether it's reading a book or, taking care of themselves. Anyways, facing adversity. Okay. The road to heaven is not easy. Okay. And I'm not talking about, a spiritual part. I'm just talking about the road to heaven and just taking care of yourself and having a better life in the long run. So the road to heaven is not easy. It will involve hardship, pain, disappointment, making it feel like it's a struggle. Please don't spam. Please don't spam. All right. Now, the path that feels easy in the beginning, it will often lead to disappointment. Okay. And so the easy part is, here's an example. When I was growing up, I always opted for, the easier route. What's easier? Going for that bag of chips, not really working on myself, not really taking care of myself. Not investing in myself, not reading books, not listening to podcasts. I mean, before, when I was growing up, we didn't have podcasts, but I never really spent the time to focus on one thing, and I wanted to get better at it. Now, of course, as I got older, I started to realize what are certain things that I like and certain things that I enjoy doing. And so a few things that kind of like stayed close to me was, for example, dancing. That's something that I would never really give up. I love exercising. I love being able to move despite my age. I'm getting up there, but slowly I still want to be able to move. I want to take care of myself. And so I don't want to feel disappointed in myself as I get older, And so I try to overcome certain challenges that I have. And one of it was relationships. I didn't understand relationships. I was always in relationships that, at least before, and I didn't understand it. For example, I will argue, with my exes, if you will. I was arguing with them. The moment they say something to me, I try, it's not about them telling me, it's about me responding back to them and be like, hey, or reacting to them saying like, yo, what about me? What about me? And I'm not really there to listen. So things like that, it made my life a lot more difficult because I was unwilling to change because I thought I was right. And so, it is because everything that I've knew up to that point, I always thought I was right. And I had to humble myself and be aware and be like, yo, Mitchell, you were doing a lot of things wrong. And so with that being said, I was like, look, it's time to change, because if it's happening too consistently, what ends up telling me is that, yo, you're not doing something right, Mitchell. And so I had to change. And having real and genuine values, things that mean something to me, or it's more meaningful, it's more fulfilling, right? Real and genuine value is usually found in a lot of struggles and dedication. And so for me, I had to learn and be like, look, if you want to be a better partner for somebody, you have to be better yourself. And so I had to sit down and I had to humble myself and be like, look, Mitchell, you probably don't know as much as you think you do. So sit down. Okay. All right. So it is almost a requirement to achieve something meaningful. In order to have something that's valuable to you, it's a requirement for you to have a certain discipline so that you can improve and become better. And the effort involved in overcoming challenges will strengthen your character, and you will have a more fulfilling life. And so a lot of people, when they view discomfort, like they see it as, oh, this is not good and I should stop. But when you view discomfort as a tool for growth, you realize that it's there to teach you and it's not there to stop you. And so if you think about it in this perspective, life is about how you choose to see things. And if you choose to see things like glass half full or glass half empty, most people, say for example, they try something and it fails or it doesn't go the way that they want it to. Most of them will, maybe, if lucky, they will do it a few more times and then they will stop. But what ends up happening is with certain people that don't stop, they're going to continue to get better and better as time goes, as long as they change certain type of behaviors, seeing what are their flaws. And so with comfort and ease, and this is what most people opt to, right? And I want to start out with a quote by Dale Carnegie. And it quotes, "Inaction breeds fear and doubt. Taking action breeds confidence and courage." So if you think about it in this perspective, humans, we were not designed to succeed. We were not designed to succeed. We were meant to survive. We're not meant to succeed. We're meant to survive. So it's kind of like this whole survival of the fittest. And so for majority of us, we won't do a lot of the necessary things to have a more meaningful and more fulfilling life. Like, say, for example, breaking bad habits. So, and I want to talk about habits for a little bit, because habits are easy. Habits are comfortable because they come at no cost to our mind. They're usually automatic, and it saves us from thinking about all the little things. So most of us, we opt for a life of ease. But if you think about a life of ease and you don't really do anything, it doesn't cost you anything to think and how to improve yourself, what ends up happening is you're stagnant. And then stagnation is an enemy of progress. So where an example is where iron starts rusting from disuse or not being used, water loses its purity from stagnation. And so what ends up telling you is that inaction starts to diminish certain parts of you. So if you don't use your brain, you have less mental sharpness. If you don't use your muscles, what's going to end up happening, right? You start losing the strength that you once built. And so this whole road to hell, right? The road to hell is usually, and it's often painted as itself as an easier path, a path that is a little bit easier and it's more tempting. And a lot of the times it's disguised as pleasure and very this instant gratification. And unfortunately, it usually leads to negative consequences, right? So when it offers instant gratification, usually characterized by like, you know, just focusing on your pleasure. Super Smasher, Lisa. What's the topic today? The topic today is road to hell is off. What was that again? Shoot. Road to hell often feel. Road to heaven. Road to heaven often feels like hell. And right now I'm talking about the ease and comfort, or comfort and ease. So this road to hell, you know, it's a lot easier. It's more tempting. It's disguised as pleasure and instant gratifications. And with instant gratifications, pleasure seeking, immediate rewards, it may seem appealing and easy to follow in the beginning. And, you know, I'm not saying that your life should be always on overdrive, but for most of the time, you recover so that you could start improving. But if you wake up every morning and you don't do anything for yourself, whether it's educating yourself on a specific topic of your interest, or you don't take care of your body, so you're not eating well, you're eating like garbage, and then you expect yourself to look a certain way or perform a certain way. It's like those things are not in common. It takes effort, it takes time, like, you know. And that's why a lot of people, especially in social media, since that's usually the first thing that they see is how they look, there's this, you know, body positivity example. And I'm like, and when you look at someone that's way overweight, and I'm talking about obese, they're like, oh, you're body shaming me. It's like, no, I don't think I'm body shaming you. I'm thinking that it's unhealthy for you to be in this body, this weight that you're at, because it's not healthy for you. And no amount of body positivity will stop your say, for example, like metabolic syndromes that you might have because of the environment that you're putting yourself in. So example is, if you're eating like shit and you drink soda, you drink pop all the time, and you consume all this sugar and junk food, what makes you think that you're immune to, say, for example, type 2 diabetes? And those, like, these are known things to have. Yes, it's really important, the difference between hatred and genuine caring. Yeah, and, you know, people are in denial sometimes, and they don't want to believe that. And that's, you know, like I said, it's not my job to try to fix people. It's only my job to share the knowledge that I do have. And it's up to them on whether or not they want to listen. And so it's really up to them, right? And so anyways, instant gratification, you know, is very appealing. It's easy to follow. And so a lot of the times when that does happen is they fail to prioritize certain types of consequences. And so speaking of consequences, you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And so when you don't take care of yourself and you don't learn and you don't educate yourself, what do you think it's going to be? Time waits for nobody. It's going to happen regardless. Whether it's 10 years from now, it's still going to be 10 years from now. But how you move forward with that, that's totally up to you. And so for most people, they ignore the long-term repercussions of their actions and their choices, and which often it leads to negative outcomes in the long run. And most people overestimate what they could do in a year, but underestimate what they could do in 10. So imagine 10 years from now, it's still gonna happen. Where you're gonna be is based off the planning and the design and the rituals that you consistently do. And a lot of times with this whole, you know, it's June already, it's crazy. But this New Year resolution. Most people drop out within like the first 2 weeks of this New Year's resolution. I'm trying to, get back into shape. And, it's a great time for trainers or people that are in the health industry, getting them into better shape. But most people don't stick with it. It's because of a lot of temptations, right? So it will involve a lot of distractions and temptations. The road to hell is often filled with distractions that pulls a lot of individuals away from their purpose and their values. And so it's easy to be distracted, especially nowadays. Most people don't have a longer attention span to anything. I mean, I've noticed even my attention span to my certain focuses that I have has dropped. But then, I try different things to improve it. So now, moving on to my next slide is growth and comfort don't share the same place. They do not share the same place. So, whereas last week, where I was talking about relationships, it's not about it's not about the intensity of how much it's not about grand gestures. It's about all the little things. It's about the consistency. So this shares the same thing, right? Great thing, and I think this is by Vincent Van Gogh. I could be wrong, but great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things put together. So I was talking about consistency. I have to be honest too. I often stop early and get unmotivated when I think about it again. I say, damn, if I didn't stop, I'd be far from the progress, right? So 10 years from now, or even like 10 months from now, the things that we look back on and we're like, yo, we could probably do something. I could have probably finished this book in 10 days, and it's been 10 months and I still haven't like opened this book. It's like, it's easy to forget, kind of out of sight, out of mind. And so be careful really how you say things, because a story that you tell yourself is going to be very consistent to what you believe in. So if you say things like I am, right? Be very careful what you say I am to. So when you say, oh, I am not good at this, I am dumb, I am stupid, it's like, believe it or not, you're gonna start believing that. And so that's one thing I always tell a lot of people, to be careful of what they consistently tell themselves. So let's talk about fear. Okay, so growth and comfort don't share the same place, and a lot of the times what's stopping us, it's fear. And fear is a big part of growth, and it's necessary. Fear, for most people, it's like they feel like it's there to protect them. Oh, it's that's a saber-toothed tiger, that's a lion. I should probably, if you see a lion, you probably should not approach it. All right, and you should definitely be fearful. Okay, you should definitely be fearful. But if it's like, well, that's the one thing I wanted to do, fear is usually there to challenge us. And every step away from an old habit or a bad habit is a step towards a new version of yourself. And you'll find a lot of times is that you find that there's a lot less people going towards the things that they want, or that the direction that you're going in, because you're here and you're watching this. And as you grow, you may find that some people no longer serve you, and that they no longer relate to you the same way that they once did. So I do want to talk about this, because the path towards success, or towards your success, it can be very lonely. A lot of people won't understand you, right? And they're going to say a lot of things to kind of pull you down, so that it's like, oh, what makes you qualify? I remember when I was starting this, a lot of people asked me, like, what makes you qualify as a relationship coach? You haven't been in this many relationships. It's like, well, I've educated myself. And it's not to say that I don't have any experience. I may not have as much experience as you are, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to change. And I'm willing to educate myself on certain topics and areas. It's like, are you going to go up to a doctor and be like, damn, you never had this? What makes you think you know everything? It's like, what makes you qualify as a doctor if you never had this? Well, let's do experience, right? So the same thing applies. And you're going to have a lot of people pulling you back. And you got to really be careful with the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because Those are the type of people that don't want you to succeed. Rio, that is why I always try to not tell people everything. Yeah, exactly. I'm starting to do or teach myself. Super Smasher, what, Lisa, what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy doing the most? Like, what's your number one passion? Right? I love to hear about it. So the path towards success. The path towards success, it could be lonely, right? So you got to be really comfortable. You better be comfortable being alone in solitude and focusing on the things that you enjoy, which is like your purpose. Excuse me. And I want to talk about being successful. And once you feel successful, a life that you feel proud of by the person you become, the one that transforms you inside out. Remember that success is not a place that you arrive in, okay? Neither is happiness. A lot of people think like, oh, once I have this, I'll be happy. Once I have that, then I'll be happy. For most people that likes Pokemon cards and collecting Pokemon and whatnot, they think, oh, once I have this card, oh, then my collection, then I'll be much happier. And it's like, no, like materialistic things, it's nice to have, but it's not the end all be all. What you become and who you become that transforms you inside out, that is where happiness is. But it's not where it lies. It's not a place that you arrive in. And it's a forever type of progress. It never stops. And you're going to have highs and lows. And that's going to happen. Okay? And same thing with your success. You could be number one at that one thing. You could be that best at that one thing for a very long time. Eventually, someone else is going to take your place. Eventually, someone's going to take your place. And that's okay. But then you continue to work on yourself and you continue to adapt and learn. Okay? And so it's usually the most difficult path that will shape you the most. And so I want to talk about growth though, right? So why does growth hurt? Why does it hurt so much? Growth hurts because it means that you have to be walking towards discomfort or walking into discomfort. And also you got to be willing to walk away from a lot of other people that no longer serves you. I'd say I love planning out my future. That might not be the most interesting or productive thing, but I enjoy preparing for everything that goes. I lost my interest because school a bit. I forget. I think you were like, what? You pretty young, right? I understand that school is taking up a lot of your time, but if you could just put aside 20, 15, 30 minutes on the side to focus on the things that you do love doing. I don't know what it is. It could be like painting, it could be dancing, or whatever it is. Make sure you squeeze in a little bit of time for yourself, because if you don't, it's gonna mentally drain you every single day. And the more it depletes you, the less of a human you will feel, the less alive you will feel. So I would really suggest that I get that school's taking up a lot of your time, and I'm not saying don't spend the time in your school. That's very important. But you still want to make sure that you spend a little bit of time for the things that you enjoy most. And don't let that go, because we're still human at the end of the day. All right. So anyways, back to why growth hurts, right? Because you have to be walking away from discomfort, and you got to walking into discomfort and walking away from certain people. And sometimes you have to face fear, and that's the thing that you have to do. And the fear could be challenging beliefs. Like, damn, everything that I believed in for years, for decades, it's probably not right. Yeah, there was a quote. Hard times create strong men. And I wish I know it off the top of my head. I really don't. It's like, difficult times create strong men. I gotta find it somewhere. But yeah, an easier life, it's not. It's nice to have sometimes. but you still got to work towards the things that you want. And so why growth hurts is because it's a lot of challenging beliefs. It goes against what you've believed in the most. So imagine this, okay? I want to use relationships as an example. Imagine the belief that you have, because this is a relationship podcast. Imagine you thought love was different, okay? So an example is you thought ever since you were a little girl or a little boy, you always it's time for her to eat. Every I got distracted. So every time, you know, ever since you were a little boy or a little girl, you grew up thinking like love equals this. And it's based off what you've seen from your parents or whoever that was taking care of you at the time. You think, oh, love is, you know, yelling, screaming, and then ignoring that things just happen. Like, oh, you know, we love each other. And this is why when we argue, we just squash it and we just put it to the side and we just don't do anything. And then you see daddy hitting mommy, and that's what love is because they're so affectionate. They care about each other so much. And so when you grow up, what do you think love is going to be like? You're going to be like, love equals yelling and screaming. Love equals abandoning that person because that person's upset. And so what you're going to grow up to is you're going to grow up and be like, well, you're going to do the exact same thing to your partner. If I'm upset and you piss me off, I'm not going to talk to you. And then since I'm not talking to you, I'm going to punish you. And so you're going to think like that's what love is. But on the other side of the coin is that person, you know, that victim, if you will, taking that type of emotional abuse. And if they're smart and they're a good person, that person's not going to stay around very long. It's like that person will tell you straight up like, hey, look, I get it. Maybe you're upset at me, but you have to talk to me. I don't know what happened, but when it comes down to being able to communicate with each other, I know maybe right now it's not the perfect time to talk, but eventually we have to talk about it. And when I say talk, I'm not talking about screaming and yelling. It means that you have your place to speak. I will listen, and then I will have my place to speak, and you will listen. Because if that person's like is educated in this area, they'll be like, yeah, what you're doing right now, it's not very loving. It's emotional abuse. And if it continues to be like this, I don't know how long I'm going to be in this relationship and that's a person that's, you know, healthy, that understands. I didn't think about how much that experience in my childhood will affect your future life. It absolutely does. And now, and so that's why I always say, like, you know, for this channel too, especially, it's geared towards men to understand and to be better men out there. And so for a lot of guys, they don't understand that. And so they start getting with like different type of women. And I always suggest that you want someone that came from a happy and healthy home, that has a mom and dad, and the dad was masculine, and the mom, she didn't just listen to dad, but she listened to dad because she respects dad. And that's huge. Now, am I saying that, well, women that are from broken homes are like completely out of it? Absolutely not. It means that they need to go work on themselves, whether it's going into therapy or start educating themselves, reading books, so that they could become better versions of themselves. And that's going to be huge, especially if that's going to be the person you're going to be spending most of your time with. Did you enjoy that? Yeah, you did. Yeah, and so that's immensely, like, it's going to be a huge impact. And I would even say this too. I didn't grow up in a perfect household. I didn't, you know, my dad left when I was 1. And so the only father figure that I really had was an older brother. 2 older brothers. And of course, you always look at the older ones as like, wow, like they know everything, right? And I'm the baby, so I didn't know. And so every little thing that started happening, and I started reading books and started realizing, I was like, wow, this is very abusive, emotionally, physically, whatever it is. It's like, that's not very loving. And if I want to be in a loving relationship for my partner, right, for my girlfriend, I can't be an emotional wreck. I need to be grounded as a guy. What does it mean to be grounded as a guy? What does that mean? Well, it means that you're the guy. And so if you're the guy and your natural essence is more masculine, and that's what that I didn't choose that. It chose it for me, and that's who I am. I can't change that. So I operate from that place. And so what does it mean? It means to be more grounded. It means that when things really hit the fan, shit hits the fan, I got to be grounded. I have to be there to listen to her. I have to be there to understand like what's going on, what's bothering you. Because I have to understand that women solve their problems differently. They talk about things. They express. The more they talk, the better they feel. And so it's my job to help facilitate that type of way so that she can express herself. So what does that mean? It means that she needs to feel safe around me. It means that I need to use words and be like, hey, so what's bothering you? What's on your mind? Tell me more. Don't leave anything out. Like things like that. And then just continue to be more grounded. And I did not know that. I personally didn't know that. I just thought, when she's being a bitch, then you know what? I need to start yelling at her. That's what I really thought how love was before, because that's all I saw as I was growing up between two brothers. That's all I saw. So that's how I was going to behave. And so I had to learn. And so it was it goes against all my beliefs. I was like, love equals yelling, screaming, and if you didn't like it, you yell at them, and that's not very loving. And so I had to change that perspective about myself. And so now, thinking about just getting into relationships. Now, it's just not the family, it's the things that you consume too, right? And so example of getting or being in a relationship is like most people think that getting into a relationship is fun. And as it should be. It should be fun and it should be easygoing, right? But then you realize that being in a relationship could be a bit challenging because of a lot of things that you don't know. And we get frustrated when we don't know things, right? Especially if it happens multiple times. And so it requires understanding about relationships. So understanding relationships is a part of being in a relationship, right? So what does it mean? It means, and here's some examples, right? There's communication, there's trust, there's similar goals and similar values, right? Understanding who you are as a person. Like I'm the more masculine guy, which means that for my own alignment with my girlfriend, she's gonna have to be more feminine. She's gonna be a more feminine woman. Why? Because I don't need another masculine woman in my house trying to tell me things of what to do and this is how I should be doing things. It's like, look, if you don't trust me, then I think she's too masculine. I think you just need a very feminine guy so that you could boss him around. But it's not gonna happen with me. So probably it won't work out. It probably won't work out. Okay, so don't turn me off, in other words. Now, what you believe the relationship was, a lot of the times we've been growing up, we've been watching a lot of movies, these rom-coms, right? Romantic comedies, or just, romantic movies. And you see that, the guy is acting very feminine. He's always doing things. He's always chasing her. He's always doing all these things to think about this grand gesture of how to win her over. And you start seeing these things. Believe it or not, I thought that was true too. So I thought about these grand gestures when I was a lot younger. I thought about, wow, these are things that I could do to win her over. It did none of that but scare her because she wasn't ready. She didn't like me that much. It was all me projecting it onto her at the time. I like you a lot. Here's this big grand gesture. And so she viewed it as like, damn, this guy's crazy, right? And I was like, yeah, thinking back, I kind of was a little bit crazy, but it's because I've been watching all these videos or these movies, and how and it's easily whatever you consume, that's what's gonna be put in your mind. So you got to be careful what you consume all the time, right? And one of my favorite quotes was, "Every day stand guard at the door of your mind," and that was by Jim Rohn. Because you wake up every morning. That's only so much mental bandwidth that you have every morning and every day. Imagine spending half of that on social media, on things that is talking about chaos, destruction, things that are happening outside of your control. You have zero control over it, and you're just like fixated on that, and you're like, damn, look, this is what's happening, and all these kids are, it's always, what does the news portray? It always portrays bad things happening to different people. That's what it portrays. So there's an endless supply of bad things happening. But if that's all you're gonna consume, and then you watch all these romantic comedies, because it's kind of funny, and these grand gestures, and you start doing these things, and you start to realize that's not how love works. You have a lot more to learn. And so, like I said, it goes against all your beliefs, right? And so a lot of people, they watch these movies. You thought it was all fun and laughter, but real relationships, it requires work and effort. It requires work. It requires you, look, even if you don't want to take her out on a date that week, you still got to try to find some time. Maybe you're broke. You don't have a lot of money. Okay. Well, go for a walk. That's fine. It doesn't have to be expensive. You could go for a walk. Spend some time together. Go out. Do something. You don't have to spend money all the time. And if money is an issue, well, you have to figure out your finances. And so that's why a feminine woman will come to you she wants to feel safe and comfortable around you. And my question to most guys are, how are you showing that to her? Because she's not going to want to stay around if you're not going to be that guy to make her feel safe. And I'm not saying safe that you have to protect her from like bad people. That's only a part of it. But what I am saying is, are you emotionally safe for her to come to you? Does she feel safe and comfortable to come to you to tell you certain things that's bothering her? Because if she's uncomfortable because she feels like, well, every time I go to him and I want to talk to him about something, he blows up, she's not going to feel very safe and comfortable to want to go to you and ask you like, hey, this is what's been bothering me. So yes, emotional regulation is huge, especially both parties, but especially for guys. The moment you correct your emotional, like you regulate your emotions a lot better, you just became 10 times better than most guys out there. Because most guys, they have a good front. They have a good, like I say, yeah, they have a good front. I couldn't think of another word, but they have a good front. But once things happen, they crumble. Yes, I have trouble to understand what real love means. Yeah, the media portrays whether I really 17, I don't have experience, but the media shows and portrays so many different types of versions, right? Yeah, and so what for a lot of women, it's women are very nurturing. They're designed to be more feminine, right? They're there to like what? Eventually you're gonna have a baby, and you have to be a little bit more in tune with how you feel. And so with how you feel, because what's gonna end up happening is you gotta be like the baby's not gonna exactly tell you what's going on. You just kind of have to figure it out on your own eventually, right? As you get older and you have a baby and whatever. And so you're asking like, well, how do I become more feminine, right? It's being more grounded, having an understanding. Like my girlfriend, she has a really good father. Father is really grounded. He's really grounded. She goes to him for advice, and he will give it to her like, you're a little crazy right now, right? He will let her know for sure. And so, wait, give me 1 second. Hold on. I have a wait. I think he's gonna leave. Yeah, he's leaving, like meaning with the package. Sorry, I got a unexpected package right now. Yeah. He probably left because it's a long way up there. Sorry. Intermission. Intermission. All right. Me. Sorry. It's my cat bed. I don't want to miss that. All right. So, my apologies. So, yeah, growing up, she had a good father, and it made it a lot more easier for me because then when she looks at me, and I tell her all the time, like, I was like, the reason why you enjoy being around me, so, and not in a very cocky way, but it's more so like, I was like, the reason why you enjoy my presence is because I'm not that far different from your dad. Okay. The only difference is our height difference and our race. And so she had a really good father. And like I said, it's not my job to fix anybody. It's not my job to be like, oh, this is how you're supposed to operate as a woman. But it's like, look, she comes to me and she trusts me. And I know that as a guy, I have my personal things that I need to work on too, right? Like, I need to be grounded. I need to make sure that she can feel safe and comfortable to come to me whenever things go wrong. Because not to say that she relies on me or she's dependent on me, but she could be like, I trust him enough that when things go down, he is there to fix it. Whatever fix it means, right? So I fix things differently. When I need to fix things, I'll be like, it's no longer a problem. And this is how I'm going to operate, and this is how I'm going to fix this issue. But when she comes to me with an issue of a problem, I know how to fix it, which is I'm just going to sit there and shut up and listen and be like, okay, what's going on, right? I might not like exactly what she's saying, but I'm going to listen to her and try to fix it. And I'll be like, is that how it made you feel when I did this? And moving forward, I'm going to do this. And usually she feels a lot better after that. Okay. So, anyways, most people, especially nowadays, you're right. Lisa, you're pretty young. So you understand, you can hear it from your friends. The moment that something does not work out, they're on to the next. And that's very common because one, social media made it very easy for a woman to get a lot more dating prospects. Especially if you're a woman of beauty, guys are just gonna flood your DMs, right? Right. People don't work on it because it's a lot easier to avoid doing it, so they could say that they never failed. Oh, if I don't get into a relationship because I have things that I need to work on and I don't want to do it, and I know that getting into a relationship eventually is gonna go downhill anyway, so what's the point of wasting my time? I just don't get into one. Why? Because it's easier to not get in. I like my company. I like being alone. But you also want some company, someone to care about you from time to time. But you don't want to work on that. You don't care about that. So, you know what? I just don't do it. If I don't do it, I could never fail. That's what most people do. And so, why do people do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure? And so, an example of that is the pain of focusing and educating yourself. It's a different type of pain. You got to focus on different type of pains. So the pain of educating yourself, spending time, going against a lot of beliefs that you thought was right at the time and it's not right. Those are things that you have. Those are the type of pains that I'm talking about. Pain is more intense and it's more immediate. And so pain is experienced as a more intense and a more of an immediate threat. Usually it causes like some people to have more of a reason, more motivation to try to do something. Negative emotions are stronger. Ever wonder why bad news travel faster than good news? Because humans are designed to have this hardwired negative bias, right? We pay more attention to negative information. Why? Because back then, when bad things happen, I need to run away, I need to hide, right? It's a survival mechanism. So pain elicits a stronger negative emotions that can motivate immediate actions, while pleasure usually feels like it's a nice to have. And so for a lot of people, the pain of like going through all this, people do more to avoid the pain than to gain pleasure. The pleasure of, well, if I educate myself in relationships and I understand that I need to work on a lot of things, I could be a better person for whoever I'm gonna be with. That's the pleasure that you will have, but you have to go through certain pains. And so you got to be careful what you choose in life. And Elisa, since you're young, this is the one thing that you will love, that I would love for you to like really pay attention to. And this is the one thing that captured me the most, especially when I was learning this. And I learned this from Tony Robbins. So if you're ever interested, you could go check him out. But be careful choosing your life influences. Okay, and there are 3 influences. The one that pulls you back, and it's the one that keeps you in the past. You're pretty young right now, so it's not much to look back on, right? And so there's a lot of people that always talks about the past, that keeps them in the past, and that's all they fixated in. There's the one that pulls you to the side, right? The one that pulls you to the side is usually a distraction. So things that are keeping you distracted from not being in your purpose, whatever you need to do. And there's one, the last one that pulls you forward. And it's an emotionally compelling reason. The reason why you do the things that you do every single morning, right? The one that aligns with your goals and values and your purpose. And it's like, think about it like this. A lot of people want motivation. Oh, I need to be motivated in order to do something. I need to be motivated in order to do that. But motivation, if we all know it, motivation is this, it's nice to have, but it's a push. It's a big nudge to you. Be like, damn, get your ass up off the floor and just do it. Get your ass up off the couch and do something about it. But we all know that eventually with this push, you're gonna get tired. You're gonna be exhausted. There's only so much that you could push. And so that's why if you have an emotionally compelling reason, it becomes more of a pull. And what we know about pull energy is kind of like gravity. It just happens. It pulls you towards something. And so when you have an emotionally compelling reason to do the things that you do, for me, it's fitness. Like today, I did not go to the gym because I just know that I needed a break. My feet hurts. And so I needed to recover. But every morning, I'm usually taking care of myself. I'm eating good. Well, at least I've tried my best to, right? But I always go to the gym. I make it a ritual for me to take care of my body every single day as much as I can. So am I getting enough liquids, right? Things like that. And it's more of a pull because this is what I do. Same thing for educating myself when it comes to relationship. It's a pull. It's a compelling reason. Like, it just happens. Anytime I think about relationships, I'm like, this is how you can improve your relationship. Like, why not? The more I know, the more I could share with other people. And so now, this is the emotionally compelling reason that aligns with your goals, your values, and your purpose. And so for a lot of you, you have to understand that there is going to be a version of you on the other side of struggle, right? There's a version of you on the other side of struggle that is a lot stronger, that is a lot smarter, a lot wiser, and more resilient, okay? But it comes from embracing discomfort. And there is a difference between challenging yourself to become a better person, to become better, and putting yourself through unnecessary suffering. There's a big difference. The right pains that you choose you will know it because it will start aligning with your goals and values and your purpose. It might not be the most popular ones, right? It might not be the most popular things. Like for you were talking about, I like planning my future, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not the most popular thing. It's not going to be like, wow, that's what you do. But that's what you enjoy doing. Then you count that holds. Does one of the things that counts that holds me back be myself? Like when you mentioned the past, what I did back then, which makes me unmotivated. Yeah. So the story that you have of yourself is thinking about, well, that's who I am because back then I did something and I failed. Right? Let me see. Count holds you back. Like when I mentioned in the past, I often think I did back then, which makes you feel motivated. Think about it like this. If you did something back then and you were successful, chances are you're going to be doing it again, right? Oh, it's okay. But are you from a different country? It might be a different time zone. But anyways, if you did something in the past and you were successful at it and you enjoy doing it, chances are you're going to be doing it again. Oh, Germany. Wow. Yeah. So chances are you're going to be doing it again. But if you continue to do it and you always fail, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to be very unmotivated, right? It happened to me with, what was it? Oh, say for example, I was playing the guitar. I sucked. Okay, I'm just not a guitar player. I tried it. It was fun. It was cool in the I just can't move my fingers the way I wanted when I'm playing the guitar. Anyways, I stopped. It's because every time I picked it up, I was like, yo, this is not going anywhere consistently. And that's what, but I'm pretty sure if I hired a coach, someone there to sit next to me and showed me the ropes, I'm pretty sure I could have done something a little bit better. I didn't. But here's also another failure that became a little bit more successful. I posted it on my TikTok, and it was a dance video back 14 years ago. 14 years ago. I could not dance to that dance. It was way too advanced for me. But, you know, just recently, about a month-ish ago, a little over a month, I rewatched that video and I was like, I think I could do it. And I just did. I was watching it. I learned it. You know, I found a tutorial somewhere too, and I start doing it. And I'm like, wow. It only took me maybe about a week for me to learn that dance again, or that dance. But before, it was not even a question. Like, there was no way I could have done that dance and had it look anywhere close. It was way above the dance level that I really wanted to. And it's nice to see because it's like, what, this is 14 years later, right? You were for most people, they weren't even born when that dance was made. Anyways, when that happened, I was like, wow, like it kind of took me back, and I was like, wow, like I'm able to do it. I'm able to learn the things that I couldn't do before, and that to me, that was very eye-opening. And that it wasn't just that one dance, it was other dances too, right? And you know, the reason why I chose dance as an example is because that's something that I'm very passionate about. I enjoy doing it, and I don't like treadmills. Treadmills are not fun. It's boring. They said there's other exercise equipments. I prefer to dance. Yeah, I love dancing. But my form of cardio, right? Anyways, I had a love-hate relationship with dancing at one point, but right now I do it because I enjoy it. It keeps me mobile and feeling young at the same time. Anyways, um, the right pains, choosing the right pains, right? You don't want to put yourself through unnecessary suffering, okay? But you do want to put yourself through the right type of pains, the pain that aligns with your goals and values. And so, I don't have to keep suffering. Like unnecessary suffering is like being in a bad toxic relationship. That's unnecessary. Now, if you really like, damn, I can't wait to go back home to this toxic person so I could learn, by all means, so be it, right? To me, that's unnecessary suffering, and you can do it. You don't have to. You shouldn't have to. You should be with someone that you're excited to be around, right? Like me personally, every single day, I always try my best. I'm not perfect, but I always try my best every single morning that my girlfriend, when the moment she wakes up next to me, she feels, I want her to feel like, damn, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. Like having every single day. Why? Because to me, that's how I keep that relationship alive. Every single morning. It's like, it's you again. Like, that's not what I want. It's like, well, good morning, right? And it's not always going to be like that. Sometimes she might wake up and she had a bad dream. What I do in that dream? Oh, you was talking to some other chick. Okay. All right. So in other words, you need a few hours to decompress what just happened in your mind. All right, no worry. I'm gonna go to work. Okay, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna get some food. You could join me if you want. You don't have to. And yeah, I'll be there. She need a couple hours, and that's fine, right? So choosing the right pains is really important, and it will push you to grow more in more meaningful ways. So when you're choosing challenges, make sure they are leading you somewhere where you want to go. And you might not have all the answers. And so it's going to take time. Like, I was 14 or 15 at the time when I really enjoyed dancing. I didn't know how to dance. All I did was jump. But I jumped on rhythm. So that was cool. That gave me hope. I was very passionate about video games. Till this day, I still play that video game. That video game is older than you, okay? At least most of you, whoever's watching. But that video game, I still play that video game till this day. There's still tournaments. I still love watching it. Like, whatever that was that I latched onto when I was a kid, that's what I like. And I still enjoy it. Pokemon, for example, okay? New shirt, old. Anyways, if you know you enjoy something and that's something that really intrigues you and it keeps you focused, don't let that go. Don't let that go, because that will be the most unique to you. The most unique to you. I know I rambled a lot. I talked a lot about a bunch of other things on this live. But I do appreciate you guys listening to me. Appreciate it. But yeah, I'm going to do another episode next week. Next Saturday, I think. Yeah, next Saturday on the 21st. So if you have any questions, the best way for me to get better topics is either you just message me on whatever platform, or leave a comment down below so that I could see it. If there's ever a topic that you guys are interested in me talking about, leave a comment down below so I know it. Okay. With that being said, I don't know who else is here besides Lisa, but there's other people that shows up. If you didn't say anything, I don't know. Crawley Eagle. Yeah. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next live. I really appreciate your time and have a great weekend. All right. And I'll catch you next week. All right. Peace.